Morning Crossfire show, what's happening at Abuja, the Sunny Side show that just ended with the Vocal Majesty. It's been one amazing conversation after another. And I promise you, it'll be even better from now to 7 p.m. as Itodo and I are committed to ensure that you have the very finest of time on radio. Itodo, right?
Yes, you will have a good time as always. And what's even fantastic is the fact that I'm still in my weekend mood, which is
You
great.
are?
Yes, I am. So I had a great time over the weekend with family. We live in the same city, but we don't get to see often. And it's always good to just bond, hang, dine together and know what they've been up to in the past few months. Because listen, you don't know what people are going through until you hear firsthand from them. And with the way the country is going now, you just want to know how you're able to port, even if it's just listening to what's going on in their personal lives or being able to assist in the little way possible. So it was great to reach out to family. We're all busy trying to make ends meet, but what's important is being there for them when they need you. And it doesn't have to be monetary every time. Just being able to listen sometimes counts for something. So yeah.
I know, right. And sometimes, because of the economy, people always feel people will come with money.
When you see that coming in, you're like, what do you want from me? But yeah, can't help. It's okay to say you can't help, at that point in time. But I had a weekend and I'm looking forward to the week. It's in how July is hurry. I'm not sure where she's going to. She's in a hurry somewhere.
I don't know. There's just something this month. I feel like it's going to be a lightning bolt. It's going to go pretty fast. But it's all good. That's productive. That's okay by us. So welcome to the show. We'll ensure that you have a productive time listening to Hard Facts with Kimberly and Itodo all to 7 p.m. And our guest Anna for the Roundtable is already comfortably seated in the studio. We've got Mr. Chuks Akunna with us. Thank you so much, sir. So appreciate it. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All delight.
Kimberly Itodo.
Yes.
Welcome. How was your weekend?
Beautiful. Every day is beautiful.
Okay. I love your every day, weekend, Monday, Friday.
Every day is beautiful.
That's the right energy to live this life as in the and I promise you. All right, let's start off with that the president is now new ECOWAS chairman. We have the right?
Yes, we do, and we'll shortly. But a lot of people are asking what Nigeria stands to gain, with having him as the ECOWAS just 41 days after he was sworn into office, and relations as to expectations. He spoke on what he expects from the team members and what they would do to ensure that security is buffed up in the days. But President Bola yesterday emerged as the new chairman of the ECOWAS community of West African states, ECOWAS, exactly 41 days after his inauguration as president of Nigeria. Tinubu also warned that the third peace in the West African sub-region had reached alarming proportions, with Britain and an emerging pattern of takeover as major contributors. The president said this at the 60th ordinary session of the Authority of State and Government of X held in Guinea-Bissau. So Tinubu, following his emergence as the new chairman of ECOWAS, said the situation demanded urgent and concerted and actions. The Nigerian leader maintained that insecurity and terrorism were stunting the progress and development of the sub-region. He sought sector-led economic growth and called for collective action from member states, urging that under his leadership, framework will be harmonized to actualize a dream of ECOWAS. Now, former President Buhari and the Nigerian Association of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Culture, NASIMA, congratulated him on his emergence as ECOWAS chairman. Addressing the West Africans, he spoke on peace, security, and how they all need to address the challenges that each country might be facing at this time. But there's also that concern, Mr. Chuks, if it would in any way deter him or be a challenge for him to fund what's happening in Nigeria as well, with this somewhat responsibility as we put on him. And just 41 days to his tenure, what would be expected in terms of delivering what he should as the chairman of ECOWAS?
To begin with, like you said, this is wondered why he what stands to gain from him becoming the chairman. It's like asking what stands to gain by becoming a chief in his feeling or a class rep in the class. Of course, there are a lot of things in, don't forget that Peter Obi is challenging his mandate, Presidential Elections Tribunal. So for him, it's because, you see, in a way, political and psychological, you tend to, even in combat warfare, you always use every weapon at your disposal. So this is like psychological equipment for him. After that, you mentioned his election in Nigeria, but then the other countries, other presidents are electing him their president. So for him, and as a politician, it's very big on his cap. So said, one would be asking, I focus on West Africa. Nigeria itself is a big killed. Just yesterday, a members of reps from just not representing not just South, and I think probably asked the constituents to defend themselves. That killings have seemingly used to just stop. Our new governor, and since Governor Killer moved to govern state, his local mango has become the ep of killings in Plateau. And then you ask yourself, is there more to these killings than just header clashes? I mean, is there more to it? I mean, is it political? Because before, of course, Jos have been
for ethno-religious conflict
in north central Nigeria. The epicenter now Wango, which is essentially is the local government of the new one in the state government who's not even yet 2 months in office. For leadership. So, and don't forget that it didn't start in West Africa, it did not start today. In the 1980s, when we had problems in Sierra Leone and Liberia, and then in Sierra Leone, even the Gambia. There was a time that a Nigerian was the Minister of Justice of the Gambia. And there was a time that Nigeria was Chief of Staff of the Gambia, Chief of Army Staff of the Gambia. So it's not, Nigeria committed over $2 billion to restore peace in Liberia and also in Senegal, in Sierra Leone. It's like asking what have we benefited from that? Of course, if you have, if your neighbors are at peace, chances are that you also live in peace. And we saw that, we saw what happened a few weeks ago when President Tinubu lifted removed the subsidy of petrol. And we saw the
even though his handlers will tell you he wasn't the one technically who lifted, he just reiterated the position left behind by the former administration that has been removed. As
at May 29, we were still buying petrol for
exactly
for her. So it was on the 30th that petrol shot up to 31st or so of last month. That petrol shot up to 540 naira per liter. So it's interesting. Congratulations, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his emergence as ECOWAS chairman.
But here's also something. I mean, we've had about 4 coups. I needed to confirm it in recent time in the West. Coup d'etat. Yeah, from Mali to Guinea to Burkina Faso. You see this region has been one that's been fraught with some of these things, and a good number of them were happening in quick succession in 2020 and now. And it's something that people are concerned about. I mean, for you to be ECOWAS chairman, beyond the economic perspective of what the regional body is set up for, we've seen sanctions come out from ECOWAS when they intercept or hijack the government. So you also would look at what his handling of this would be, to saying, all right, you have a region also that the politics and the governance style of the region can affect the economic output of the region also. And you wonder what strategy, if he has any know-how at all to handling that issue.
Yeah, the truth is from about the time President Buhari took over as president, Nigeria's leadership role in West Africa actually experienced a nosedive. Because you see, sometimes you look at what's going on in between Russia and Ukraine. But for a country like the US, Russia will have overrun NATO, particularly Russia will have overrun. We know that the war is a proxy war between Russia and the West and NATO, because US is a major key member of NATO. You see. When Abacha was head of state, in fact, there's this study we did in school then, ECOMOG. There's something they call ECOMOG, the Economic Community of West Africa Peace Monitoring. I
remember we used to deploy soldiers.
Yes, you understand. And Nigeria virtually, what do you call it? Nigeria virtually solely funded ECOMOG, because the first ECOMOG commander was General Akunna from Ghana. But it was under his control that Samuel Doe was killed in very controversial circumstances. In fact, Samuel Doe was killed right almost in front of before General Akunna. So, and it really messed up ECOMOG and ECOWAS. So thereafter, General Sani Abacha took charge of ECOMOG, and then he was sent in. So from that moment, the whole commanders in a row for ECOWAS were all Nigerians. And Nigerians recorded tremendous successes. And that was why a lot of people are also wondering that the same Nigerian troops that went to foreign lands to enforce peace, the same what's happening, what has changed, that the same soldiers, the same officers we have, the same military we have cannot even restore peace in parts of Nigeria. Time was when you called Nigerian military, that was very professional. But then also people also want that if you continue to draw the military into purely civilian, into peace, into law enforcement duties, civilian law enforcement, that they'll become corrupt.
Yeah.
They're corrupted by the people they interact with every day. And we need to see the truth in that. So that said, it's had Nigeria had its leadership role in Africa. I look at when Obasanjo was president and there was crisis in Liberia. Obasanjo called them. He practically installed what's her name? That lady, what's her name? Like her name. The woman who became president of Liberia.
Elizabeth Johnson.
Yes, Obasanjo practically single-handedly made her president.
Isn't that giving him?
No, I said literally made her president because things. If you have a very strong neighbor, you want to depict your children, you're mindful of the repercussion of what might be the repercussion.
But the country voted for her, so if we say he was the one who made her president, it will come off as...
What I say literally, you have to
True his weight behind that influenced it, but then it can't be literally him.
But he was very influential. He was very... You see, if you look at even several West African countries, they come to Nigeria for guidance. Even their candidates, George, where he was in Nigeria prior to, even several state governors in Nigeria assist. It's politics. If you have business interests with people in Ghana, if you're doing cashew business, for instance, we saw even our president. There was this viral video of our president in Guinea before he was elected president. If you have business interests in certain countries, chances are that you want to have your favorite.
Yeah.
It happened in Cote d'Ivoire, when the French intervened, because Cote d'Ivoire is the largest producer of cocoa and, of course, cashew nuts. And when there was crisis when there was stalemate in the elections in Cote d'Ivoire, it greatly disrupted the supply chain of cocoa, which is the West, they can't live without cocoa because of chocolate instead. So they had to quickly move. France had to quickly move in to ensure that their own preferred candidate became president. It's life is about interests, so you won't blame anybody. You like, even if you want to get married, you have like 5 or 10 or 20 persons candidates. You actually have a preference. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's normal. So because Nigeria, you see, these issues of about 3 or 4 coups d'etat in West Africa, it's because of Nigerians, the failure of Nigeria to take up leadership role. Because you'll be afraid. Look at what happened in 2010.
No, but then they will say they are a sovereign nation. Look at Ukraine and Russia.
No.
Want to join NATO. Next door,
sovereign nation, how? You see, on paper, yes, you're sovereign nation. That's why you have the Security Council, 5 permanent members. The same man pass man. And that's the truth. You see, on paper, you can say something on paper, but in reality, it's different. Let's face it. You see, like if the U.S. Secretary of State is coming to Nigeria, it's the president that goes to receive him, because the Secretary of State of the U.S. is bigger than many presidents. You understand? That's the way it works. It's like, what's the population of Ghana? Ghana is about the size of Lagos in population. So even amongst themselves, it's the same thing. Even if you're in a family, you're siblings, you know who's senior. It's that.
Okay, so we're coming with our Giant of Africa thing here. And then if we're bringing that argument in, you also want to look at what comparative advantage we have in the region beyond the size of our population and the fact that we have oil. We live in the age of the African Continental Free Trade Zone. And ECOWAS is strictly an economic bloc for the region. So you start to look at, okay, I agree that when we remove subsidy, our neighboring country felt the jolt a little. Aside from that, what are we really bringing to the region in terms of economic strength?
No, we are several. I'll give you several. I'll give you certain examples. Like, So that's why the crisis in the southeast is affecting a lot of people. It's not affecting only Nigerians, it's affecting people from around West Africa. If you go to Onitsha and Amba, people come from Cameroon, they come from Togo, they come everywhere to buy spare parts.
Can we just hold it there and run for a quick break, and we'll take it up from here after the break. Let's run for a break. We'll be back in a jiffy. Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.
Market in West Africa, of course, I mean, undeniably. Even in Africa, Nigeria is the biggest market. That's why people come from, even Eastern Africa, they come to buy stuff from, they buy stuff. Because you see, it's common sense. If you go to China to import, say, other wares, and you because you see, if you're buying one, it's common sense. If you're buying one and if you're retailing and you're buying wholesale, you're buying like 1 million underwears.
Yeah.
You understand? Chances are that they'll slash the price for you. So if a dealer from Ghana comes to buy from China, he's buying probably 50,000, and Nigeria is buying probably 5 million. When they calculate the cost of importing 50,000 from China, it's cheaper for them to come to Nigeria to buy from the man in Lagos and that's what they do. So people buy because of the size of our economy. We buy a lot. So people from around West Africa, I know that for sure. So people come to Onitsha, they come to Aba, they come to buy. They come from as far as the Gambia. They come from as far as from Liberia to buy because it's cheaper for them. So if those countries are not at peace, we'll be losing market. And same way, if Nigeria doesn't have peace, look at what's happening in the Southeast. A whole week of stay at home. It's affecting even people from other parts of West Africa. So the earlier we restore peace to Southeast Nigeria and of course other parts of Nigeria, all the vegetables we eat around, most of the vegetables we eat around Abuja comes from Plateau. And since this crisis are in Plateau, we now know how much Irish potatoes cost, carrots, green peas and stuff. So it's in the interest of everybody, Nigeria and her West African neighbors, her Aburos in West Africa, to maintain peace.
All right. So our president is the new ECOWAS chairman, and we'll see what this would translate for ECOWAS, the economic bloc, and for Nigeria under his watch. It's a good thing that we have you in the studio, sir, today. We'll do a little today in history with you. I know, yes, you're a junior, you're the executive director of the authority, but years back, or 2 decades precisely back, you were a special chief press secretary to the former governor of Anambra State, Chris Ngige. And on this day, 20 years ago, 2003, he was kidnapped. And to date, was he ever unraveled? It was a political kidnap. But the mastermind behind it, did
Yes.
we ever resolve that? Because I know Anduba came out and said, count me out. I'm not.
No, Anduba wasn't. It was a disagreement between Chris Uba, who was his sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Who was a sponsor, who was the sponsor, and Ngige. And, you know, the tragedy is that just a few months ago in Adamawa State, something close to that happened when an INEC official announced somebody who, because, you know, what does it matter? Does it matter if soldiers or policemen came with guns or somebody with a stroke of the pen? It's the same thing. Just like Fela sang, you know, authority stealing. Some people use guns to steal. Some people use pen to steal. Their pens to steal. So, you know, very interesting. 20 years already. And
where did time go? 2003. That feels like yesterday.
And it's about folk. Even as at this time, 20 years ago, they had not even returned to office because it was the following day because Obasanjo was out of the country and they needed to get in touch with him. In fact, when it happened, several PDP chieftains assumed that Obasanjo knew about it. So they came on air to, I don't want to mention names now. So they came and actually supported that violent change of government in Anambra. So, but, you know, as the days unraveled, so it was not until on the 11th, the following day, that Ngige was ushered back to office. And even at the time, even the following day, there were still scores of policemen who are not sure what order to and who to take orders from. But you see, the truth is, godfatherism, have we waved bye-bye to godfatherism in Nigeria? And of course, no. You see, people still, because of the cost of becoming, getting political power in Nigeria and of course elsewhere, it's not cheap. It's not cheap because it's not about, you see, people think that, okay, Dangote is the richest man in Africa, yes. So, but he has no power to order, he has no prerogative of mercy. But imagine if you're a governor and somebody killed somebody else, you have the power over life and death, which nobody, no matter how rich you are. So if you have money in your father's house, but political power is the ultimate. So people will kill and maim just to get that power because they want to. You can imagine if you're a governor, you can just, a whole street you say in overriding public interest. We have people in Kaduna, have people in certain states who have done that. So, okay, your political opponent, you tell them, you say we are shorting this road in overriding public interest. And who determines what public interest is the sovereign, is the governor or the president. So the powers of the governor, powers of the president are very enormous. Even local government chairman. A local government chairman is executive. We've seen instances where local government chairmen have sent speakers of the House of Reps or Senate president have sent them, packing.
Local government chairman in Nigeria.
Yes, if you have, you can prevent a speaker of the House from coming back to you. No, he's the chief executive
of his local government. But they feel like they're handicapped. I mean, you don't have financial autonomy per se. When you have the strength to even pull this
we're delving into another discourse now.
Yeah.
But then, it was the framers of our 1999 constitution because they gave 3 years to local government chairmen and then gave 4 years to the president and governor. So if you recall, it was between 1990, in fact, local government chairman, because that's the foundation, that's the basis for governance. Those are people who are closest to the grassroots. So it was on the basis of local government representation that political parties were registered in 1999. So parties that didn't, associations, because they were called associations at the time, that didn't get the required spread at the time, council elections, because those were the litmus test for political associations. That was INEC's stipulation for you had to have minimum, and they had this, I can't remember now, number of local government seats to enable them register as political parties. So only only two met the mark. That's PDP and APP. So, but for political consideration, because Abiola had died, and just died, and then the Southwest was very angry with everybody. So, and then the Southwest Political Association was the Alliance for Democracy. So they basically had to bend over backwards to accommodate, to put Alliance for Democracy on the ballot so that they could produce a Yoruba candidate for. So That's why there's nothing wrong in political solutions, because laws are made by man for man. Laws are not made, you understand me? So at the time, we had local government chairmen who were very powerful. In fact, in Anambra State, we had the case of a local government chairman, OK Moaro, who was in the South local government chairman. He was at war with the governor, because they had their first line charge. They were. I mean, it's like saying a governor want to remove. I mean, a president will want to remove a governor. So long as a president cannot unseat a governor, so also should the governor not be able to unseat a local government chairman? But you see, governors come now, they dissolve local government elected council chairman. So, but the moment their tenure ended in 2002, all the governors became very happy. So, and the constitution was silent over what next to do.
Oh, yeah.
So the councillors, they left the government, and then governors learned how to appoint caretaker.
So I'm curious to know, the way things played out, because at the time when that kidnap or the hostage taking happened, the government lodge was being renovated, I believe, and he was moved to a hotel that was happening.
No. The truth is, no, he had not moved into the governor's lodge.
Yeah.
No, let me tell you what normally, and it's commonplace around Nigeria. You see, if a supposedly hostile candidate emerges, it becomes governor, people will come and tell him, security experts come and say, don't go there. Don't move in there. You have to debug, because they'll say that apparently the predecessor planted a lot of bugs there. So they say they planted juju and things like that. And then, of course, there will be looting. I mean, there will be vandalism. So, and, governors, even, you can imagine that even CEOs of organizations don't use cars that were bought a few days.
By the previous.
No, a few days to the exit of their predecessor. So imagine governors, of course, they come with brand new cars. So it's only befitting that the place be renovated. So at the time he was staying put, he was lodging, and there's this hotel called Choice Hotel. That was where he was. But it wasn't about a case of Choice Hotel. He went to the office, and it was at the office that he was arrested. He was actually arrested by Rafelige. And then, till date, the report of the police, of course, Rafelige was suspended and dismissed. Then he later died, of heartbreak, because he felt
he died of a heartbreak.
Yes, he died, supposedly of heartbreak. He died shortly thereafter, because people felt that because he was disowned. When you asked to carry out an illegal operation, and then you fail, you become an orphan. So everybody now, no, I didn't send you, I don't send you. So look at the INEC guy. Look at the INEC guy to the Yunusa Ari, the one in Adamawa one. He's also on his own.
I know that INEC has charged. I think he was about 7 counts or thereabouts in court.
So he's on his own. So
he's on his own. Nobody asked him to go and hijack the process.
Failure is an orphan. Apparently they will promise heaven and earth that if you did this. So, but the thing is, like I said, we don't learn lessons, because if we learn lessons, people like Yari wouldn't have done what he did in Tara, and that was 20 years, a few months short of 20 years. So, and to imagine that, because when it happened, I called a lot of people. I even called. There was a GOC. The GOC of the 2DIV, Lieutenant General Jinadu, I remember his name very well. He was in Oka a few days before that. He was in Oka about the 1st or 2nd of July. So I went, Bashir Jinadu. So I went to him. I speak Yoruba very well. So he's from Ogun State. We exchanged numbers, and that was it. So I called him up and told him that my governor was arrested. He said by him. So he was confused, because nobody believed that. So
the political language back then was a kidnap. But if it was an arrest, it would have been different.
No. It was after we had to, but he was arrested. So I said, I don't know, policemen. Suppose because they disarmed our policemen, and even the GOC was confused. I was asking him how. He asked me they were gendarmes from Cameroon. I said no. I said policemen from Nigeria. So he ordered soldiers from Onitsha to come there. So when they came to, unfortunately for the poor Jews, he also got caught in crossfire. He also got caught in the crossfire. So a lot of people got caught in the crossfire. Those who lost, they lost very, very. They suffered crushing defeat.
Anambra election has always been intense.
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends because people say because sometimes too. You see, when the problem starts from the top, how did Mbanju emerge in the first place? That's one question. You see, Mbanju was not prepared to be governor, but because the powers that be had shortchanged Ekweme. Ekweme was the front runner for the president for the PDP ticket. So ex-military leaders, powerful military officers, retired military officers felt that Obasanjo was better for them. One, he was going to killing two birds with a stone. They needed to assuage the Southwest. And at the same time, they needed to bring Southwest, and they needed to bring somebody who was a member of their constituency, the military. Yeah. Because the military was handing over, and they felt that they needed somebody strong who could keep the military, because people were afraid. Even if you recall, a lot of people who came to the National Assembly in 1999, the people who are supposed to, the quality of people, because they felt that this might not last. So people who are serious did not actually put their hearts in the ring at the time. All
right, sir. I feel like if we continue like this, we will even go to when the colonial masters arrived. Your wealth of knowledge in history. But we had to bring it up because it's like the 10th of July, and this happened in 2003.
You're very brilliant to have brought it up. So, for those who are youngsters or who are children at the time.
He has since moved on and done so much after that particular episode. Yeah. But just before we get to the phone line, the court is asking for a bit of accountability. Abacha loot, how was he spent? Itodo, do you have the detail?
Yes, a federal high court in Abuja has delivered a judgment compelling the governments of former Nigerian presidents, namely Olusegun Obasanjo, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and Muhammadu Buhari to disclose the spending details of approximately 5 billion returned Abacha loot. Now, in the case filed brought by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, Justice James Kolawole Omotosho ruled in favor of SERAP. The court ordered the government of President Bola Tinubu to reveal the exact amount of money stolen by General Sani Abacha from Nigeria, as well as the total amount of Abacha loot recovered and all the agreements signed regarding the funds by the aforementioned presidents. Furthermore, the court instructed the government to disclose the specifics of the projects executed using the Abacha loot, including their locations, as well as the names of the companies and contractors involved in these projects since the restoration of democracy in 1999 up until this day. Now, Justice Omotosho also ordered the government to reveal the precise roles played by the World Bank and other partners in the implementation of any projects funded with the Abacha loot under the administrations of former presidents Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, and Buhari. So there have been constant questioning as to what these funds have been used for and how much in total had been repatriated back into Nigeria. And with this move, do you feel like we'll finally get an answer to those burning questions? Because it's important to know if any difference have been made with those funds brought back into Nigeria, and what good, if any at all, is done to the country in general.
Yes, it's a good move, at least on paper, because the truth is, the painful reality is that court orders are treated with contempt, particularly by the executive in this part of the world, and that's very sad, because of the fact that they execute. It's called the executive. So the security apparatchik of the country is under the control of when the courts give orders. Warrant of arrest are issued, and so on. Even when the legislature orders the arrest of an invitee, of somebody who has shown summons, House of Reps or Senate summons, it's still the job of the executive to enforce that. So what happens if now the executive now feels that the ruling is against it? Because clearly it's against the executive, because it's now the day of reckoning. And the tragedy is that we tend to see these monies, after all, it was looted. So what is wrong in relooting it? Or, because it was not appropriate. Even the monies that are appropriated for, people still steal. So let alone this is not appropriated for, because you see what happens when there's nowhere in appropriation from 1999 where the National Assembly has added Abacha's loot to, because they're all anticipatory, because they're not planned for. So once in a while they'll get, some countries will have mercy on our souls and say, you have people have 500 million euros here. They release to Nigeria, and when they release to Nigeria, the government, what they do, they go on a spending spree. That's the problem. So the bane of politics in Nigeria is accountability. Particularly Africa and Nigeria is accountability. People fail to be accountable to people.
I mean, if you're looking at one tranche of it, I recall, I think it was one that came from the US. So far, from the US, we got 332.4 million US dollars from that arm. And I recall one of the tranches that came from that, they said it was going to go into the social intervention program to feed the poor and the vulnerable, which is something they bought into. And then subsequently after that, some of it were channeled into infrastructural development of some key roads and all of that. But these things are where you can find paper trail. If you say it's going into social intervention, I mean, there should be paperwork to say, okay, these were the number of people that who benefited from it.
No, but the truth is this. Is it even as recently as a few months ago, on the eve of Buhari's exit, we were told that we applied for 800 million. The first they said was grant. But I know that the World Bank doesn't go about looking for people.
No, I think they corrected themselves. It was
it was a loan. No, they first came and said grant, as if, it's like saying, I don't know, it's what they call this thing, euphemism. They're trying to play with words. You say grant, as if the World Bank just woke up one day and felt like Nigerians are very reasonable. Let's give them $800 because it's a loan. Then who takes a loan to distribute to foreign people? There's no way in the world where that is done. Okay, during COVID-19 lockdown, when schools were on break, after COVID-19, we were regaled with stories of how they spent hundreds of millions of naira feeding children that were home. Then now, even when they were talking about, when the immediate past Minister of Finance was talking about the $800 million World Bank loan, she said they already have a register of 50 million Nigerians. And we were all wondering when we were counted. At least, I don't know, I have like 30 or 40 relations or more than that. None of them was
maybe they're in poor vulnerable. Maybe they're within that standards of what they're looking for.
You understand? So you ask yourself, because you don't have a database in Nigeria to start with. Look at the census, the plan to the proposed census. It's still mired in controversy because some monies have been taken, purportedly for the purpose of for buying, for takeoff. Then now Tinubu's on board. They've gone to meet Tinubu again and for another 200 and something billion. So this is it. The fact is, because people have never been held liable for wrongdoing. Look at the APC. I'm sorry to bring up the APC.
No, but this predates the APC. I mean, Obasanjo, Jonathan, they could not even give us an idea of what Abacha was used to.
What I'm saying is this. You see, people don't even keep mental records. Somebody was governor for 8 years in PDP. Then he moves to APC. All the cases, all the EFCC cases suddenly dropped. And then he becomes a member of the APC. Then becomes a principal member of the party. You understand? Then he starts castigating PDP. So now, you're at a loss you're at sea because you ask yourself what really is going on here. Because we all know, even there's this man who later became a national chairman of a party. The presidency came out to say that the man has repented. There was this minister, when journalists, dug deep and said, okay, this man promoted terrorism. They said, no, he was a child at the time.
Yeah.
Now he's fully grown. So you see what will happen. You see this court matter. I'm not here to prejudge. Of course, the court has given its order. But you see, and because Nigerians are docile, we don't hold our leaders accountable because we expect them to steal. That's the truth. And that's why when people hear of...
So we have a people problem.
See this woman, this pilgrim in Saudi Arabia that found $80,000 on when you tweet about that, People are not interested. People think that she's stupid.
A Nigerian woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
People actually think that she's stupid.
Oh, I didn't know about the Nigerian woman in Saudi
She
Arabia.
returned the money rather to
$80,000
the owner.
No, but we've had Nigerians who returned. Who
No,
found
what I'm
money.
saying,
Yeah.
even the, when she gets back to her village, chances are that they tell her that she's a very stupid woman, because people expect you to be corrupt, and that's
She
why.
leave that village.
And that's why you say what?
She should leave the village.
Because you would assume that she went there to pray
Yeah,
and do
no.
that, then she found the money.
Yes,
that was
yes.
a bit of
That's
compensation.
from God, because there was also this viral video of a Nigerian a few years ago who went to Kaaba, who went to the holy site,
holy site,
and
yeah.
he was prayer. His prayer, it went viral. The video where he was saying fulus. So the Pakistani or so, beside him, the pilgrim, said, "My brother, fulus is good, but then you should pray about Al-Jannah, paradise." He said, no. Al-Jannah he will get, but fulus, that God should give him money. Yes, that. So, like you said, like you said, people say they say she has a mental case.
Did you say she has a mental?
No, like, as I say, people would say that.
Say she has a
Even
mental
on social media, people say that she's stupid. That you went to seek God's face and somebody forgot $80,000. Don't you think that was God talking to you?
Answering your prayers?
Answering your prayers, you understand? So that's it. So it's what you call, you have what you call leadership expectation. We don't also expect our leaders, somebody who becomes governor, and after 6 months, his house in the village is still the same. People will say, this man, the village, they will summon a meeting and invite him. They will ask him that your own governorship is different. Like, see this man in 6 months, look at what he did in this manner. So that's the problem. So, because we also expect our leaders to be corrupt. So when they are corrupt, we don't hold them to account.
Well, that's where we are. But you also need that drive to actually get the people to expect more. When we talk about accountability, if the systems and the institutions that you interface with to hold these people accountable are also non-functional, what can the people really do? Because half the time when we say, well, Nigerians are not holding their leaders accountable, even people who have tried. We had Nigerians who went out on the street and demanded an end to police brutality. How did it end?
They killed them.
We've seen people who have gone to the National Assembly with placard making several requests. How did it end? No response. So at one point, there'll be that fatigue as to we've tried to engage in all the ways that we can, such that people are now reduced to insult on social media because they don't know other ways of so, it's just a sad circle that we found ourselves.
It is.
Let's take some calls quickly before we go on a break. Call us up on 0700 951 0000 or 0809 5974869. You can call our WhatsApp number 0809 9930137 or just leave us messages.
All right, looking at our Facebook right now. Clem says, good afternoon. Thank you for keeping us abreast. Everyday information is power. More grace to Nigeria Info and the entire staff. Greetings to you. Mansa Umar J, good afternoon, as well as to you. Thank you for joining in. This one on YouTube, Oludade Abiodun says, for those who are saying that the president should resign as a chairman of ECOWAS, they're just playing with politics. I also want to advise the president to do something about insecurity. And Engineer Ola says he's watching from Lagos. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we take some from WhatsApp?
Okay, let's do that. This says, good afternoon. Greetings to you. Let no one say Tinubu should rescind the leadership of ECOWAS, else they are making or asking for its demise, since Nigeria has always been its major financier. USA, in spite of its large debt, has a lot of trillions of dollars commitments outside its borders. May Nigeria's human and natural resources be very well tapped in this dispensation to generate more funds for the country. Peace in Nigeria. Banki from Utako. And this one right here, just says Empress and the Deacon. Okay. Have a good title.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. Veteran from Aso Drive. Tinubu emerging as ECOWAS chairman is a big distraction and won't have any direct impact on Nigerians. As we speak, there's a lot of killings and ethnic cleansing currently going on. I could mention some states, Benue, Plateau, Taraba, etc., and we don't see much action coming from the president. Okay. All right. Okay. Internal security, securing lives and property of citizens is always a priority of every legitimate government. Instead of tackling alarming insecurity and peace in Southeast, where so-called IPOB is currently unleashing mayhem on innocent citizens and preventing poor masses from going about their legitimate businesses. This is nearly 2 months now since Tinubu took over from the former President Buhari. Nigerians are yet to see his blueprint on security. The so-called ECOWAS chairmanship is of little relevance to the lives of Nigerians. Well, it's economic. They would hopefully have in the near future. Talking about his blueprints, I mean, we have new service chiefs that he brought on board. He interfaced with them sometime last week. I guess it was last week we talked about it.
Yes.
We had a meeting. I'm sure things will unravel with time. Let's hear this caller.
Welcome to you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Kim,
Yes, good afternoon.
afternoon. Good afternoon, I guess. Sorry, in respect to this court case, it's a very good thing because it's another way of the citizen to demand accountability from those that govern them. But surprisingly, our guest, or rather, I will let me even call him an AIT guest. He doesn't balance his analysis. The way to balance it is that it is only APC government that mismanaged that Abacha law. I think you should remember that even Jonathan, there was a paper, the Suki wrote, handwritten paper that they should go to CBN and carry $1 billion from Abacha law. He didn't mention it. Obasanjo was using it to sponsor PDP in those days. He didn't mention it. I think there's need to balance so that all of us who listen will know that the journalists are helping us to put up.
Well, you know for sure that Obasanjo was using that money to sponsor PDP, or you're just talking off.
Okay, what I'm saying is this. It cannot just be APC Buhari government that mismanaged that,
All right.
I'm saying here that since he, or the only thing he was able to remember.
All right, we get your point.
Was about that.
We get your point. And I think we also brought that dynamics in that it predates the APC and Abacha. But I was the one who specifically brought up examples of, the targeted area. At least Buhari mentioned he was going to go into social intervention. He was going to infrastructure. The Jonathan era and Obasanjo era did not even have any bit of clarity as to what the money was going to go into, enough for you to trace the outcome of it. All right. Sometimes it cannot be as robust in terms of all of the detail. We've had 8 years of the APC, so there will be more in the spotlight to those who were in the past. Besides, it was the government's responsibility to also ensure that they found out how the previous administration used the money. So no excuses.
Is there any paper trail for them to ensure that they understood how the monies were used or what projects we were put into so that they can maybe follow up or continue, whatever it is, but nothing of the sort, so...
Let's take one more quickly before the news.
Welcome to you.
Hello, Itodo. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Kimberly, good afternoon.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. I greet your guest, my daughter. My name is Abdul Ibrahim from Maraba. Kimberly, that is why I like you. You already tell us. Like somebody like me, I tell you, I always be listening to you. The measure APC, that where the president always what is it called? Located the money to. Like the other one, the last one came. One go to Niger Delta, second Niger Bridge, and they said another mentionment I hear from them. I hear from him. The second one go to Kanu, whatever, and the third one go to where I think. Niger Delta Road or something like that.
I don't know about Niger Delta Road, but it went to social infrastructure. That's the social intervention program.
Okay, but they mention, I forgot the third one. Thank you very much. God bless you. You always speak what you speak. Bye. Thank you.
Okay. I didn't mention any of those, but thank you very much for drawing attention to it. We'll need to go on a break for the news, and we'll continue our conversation with our guest, Mr. Chuks Akunna, helping us review some of the big stories. He is the executive director of the Authority paper. Stay with us.
is Nigeria Info.